Coming up on Rob on the Road, saving species.
Go with me on a life-saving journey for aquatic birds. See how these courageous creatures are flying high once again. And meet the man who is the wind beneath their wings.
That moment where they step out of the cage and look back, am I really free? And then off they go. It can bring tears, I can tell you that.
Plus, it's getting batty inside this African fruit bat colony.
Come here, babies. This is Banana.
See what it's like when they feast on their favorite fruits. And we'll take kids back to nature for an outdoor lesson in life on the land, found inside something endangered nationwide. Rob on the Road starts now.
And now, Rob on the Road, exploring California.
Hi there, and thanks for joining us. All over the Golden State, there are people devoting their lives, their careers, or countless hours to helping save our precious animals and the environment. That includes both living creatures and the often pristine places where they're found. On this edition of Rob on the Road, we'll meet some of those people and discover their amazing efforts. Like our friends here at the Sacramento Zoo, helping African fruit bats thrive and grow. Under human care, all open for the public to see. And the fantastic team at Sacramento Splash in Rancho Cordova, saving vernal pools and opening up an outdoor classroom for kids from all over Northern California to get a hands-on look at species fighting for survival. But let's begin at the International Bird Rescue Center in Vacaville, where thanks to some life-saving measures, aquatic birds are flying high once again.
Nestled in the rolling Vaca Hills is a safe haven of healing for sick, injured, abused, and orphaned aquatic birds. This is the International Bird Rescue in Fairfield, with a second location in Los Angeles. Both on standby every day of the year to fly into action when a massive oil spill occurs, polluting birds with grounding and life-threatening toxins. On this sunny winter day, there are no oil spills, but every day the dedicated crew is tending to birds in need. There are 20 here right now, where they can live anywhere from a couple of days to more than a year. Executive Director J.D. Bergeron let me be his wingman for the day.
Well, the sign says it all, JD. Pelican Crossing. I love that so much. All right, let's go inside. 2 doors, I take it, so they can't escape.
That's exactly right. Safety of the birds is always paramount for us.
Oh my gosh. Holy cow, JD. Look at that.
So we are looking at 2 brown pelicans. One of them is a juvenile. That's why the head is still brown. The one with the whiter head is an older bird. Given the size of that bird's bill, it's probably a female. So we're looking at a adult female brown pelican and probably a male juvenile. Further behind, you'll see a cormorant perched on a log.
On the left.
We like to call those the cobras of care. They are very snappy and remain very suspicious of people. We're very glad of that. Wild birds should remain wild all the time, and there's an assortment of gulls in here as well.
So you said gulls.
Yes.
And I think that we have been taught wrong. They're not seagulls.
Exactly right. There are plenty of gull species that spend a lot of time by the ocean, but they don't rely or depend upon living with the sea. They're water birds. They go inland as well. You see them flying around your neighborhoods where you live. So seagull is not the correct term. Gull.
Just gull.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Look at that. All right, now is he just showing off because we're coming close?
He's getting a little bit nervous. They don't like to be too close to people. Again, this is something we really like to see in care, is that these birds should not become acclimated to people. So
This is what you want to see.
nervousness and moving away from us is exactly right. You can notice the band on the leg. All birds, because some of them can look very similar, get a temporary band while they're in care. So this one is red and I can't see the number, but that's how we would help identify him if there were a whole bunch. And this aviary that we're standing in right now in 2012 was the home of 150 California brown pelicans during a major crash in the Bay Area. Imagine what this place would look like with 150 pelicans. We redubbed it the Thunderdome at that time because of all the noise and squawking and fighting.
And now he's eating a fish.
He's eating. Self-feeding is also a really good sign of a bird in its natural environment is comfortable eating. You see that sometimes it's hard for them to get it back. They have to kick their heads back. The fish was temporarily stuck in his pouch, and it's all better now.
He just ate that whole fish, JD. That is fascinating, and I love that shot right there. The two pelicans and the cormorant, and this must be fascinating to you on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Sometimes I get tired of my desk work and I just come out and walk amongst these birds and just get a reminder of what we're doing here. California brown pelicans, this species right here, subspecies, were until recently listed as threatened. They were a vulnerable species. When you look into the eyes of a pelican especially, you see that bird is looking right back at you. There's an intelligence there. These are obviously some of our favorite birds. It's in our logo. They're remarkably resilient. They heal well from really, really disastrous wounds. It's fantastic that they do, and our job is to just make sure that they get the food, medication, and daily care that lets them heal themselves.
And check this out. The Bird Rescue today harvests feathers from the wingspans of deceased birds to be used in feather transplants on identical species when they lose or damage their flight feathers. This process is called imping. This beautiful gull was grounded after losing the middle 5 feathers on each wing.
You place it into the little socket.
Exactly right. There's a little bit more process there, but it involves a little bit of epoxy and a little bit of a stabilizing dowel, and that bird can fly.
Hi, baby.
That is a California gull, and I'm trying to check if that might be the one that we just imped, because he's been flying a lot.
Well, he's doing well.
So we'll keep him for a month just to make sure those new implanted feathers don't fall out. But
He wanted to show us that they were working while we were talking about it. All right, this is what it's all about. It's release time
That's right.
for this little fella. This is a northern fulmar.
That's right.
Okay, and we're gonna carefully open this. Jennifer, you can go ahead. And you wanna step in there because we have to block that. Now she's going to net the bird. Tell us about this.
That's right. So we have to carefully catch the bird. It's difficult sometimes. This one was an easy catch.
Oh.
This bird will be covered with a towel immediately by Nina. See him fighting, that's a very good sign. We want feisty wild birds.
Yes, you want them to remain wild.
We call that little towel wrap the burrito wrap. You're essentially wrapping the
How
bird
cute.
inside the towel.
All right, well, let's come on and all of us just come inside
Just close
and see
the
what's
gate.
gonna happen. You're keeping your distance, I see. Why is that? Because we don't want to scare it?
That's right.
Okay.
Birds
All right.
are very visually focused, so what they don't see doesn't stress them as much.
How about our voices?
Obviously, we don't want to talk too much around them, but right now we're doing something that's for the public to understand, so we are talking a bit more than maybe normally would around the birds.
Okay. Okay, so JD, tell me about this.
Yeah, so this is a bird that you would rarely see unless you were out in the ocean on a boat. These are not such rare birds. They're just ones we don't often see on land.
Gosh, look at those little feet.
This is a release evaluation. This bird has been here for just 3 weeks. Next, they'll draw blood to check for infection. If so, the bird will go on antibiotics. Nurses and volunteers check the wings, bone structure, and body condition to make sure the bird is nice and plump, giving the bird a full stomach to readjust to the wild.
All right, we're gonna do the head, and this is actually really where one of the more interesting parts of a northern fulmar is on the top of the beak. You'll notice something that's called a tube nose. That's
baby.
where the name of this bird comes from, or this family of birds, is the structure on top of that bill.
Oh my gosh.
It is truly amazing to be this close to a bird so rarely seen. This bird will be moved back outside, wait for the blood work, and return to the wild along the California coast. The International Bird Rescue has been in operation since 1971, when 2 standard oil tankers collided near San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge, resulting in a spill that covered 50 miles of coastline. The Bird Rescue takes in more than 5,000 birds each year, much more if there is an oil spill. Volunteers donate more than 60,000 hours every year.
This room, JD, is all calm right now, but this would be quite the opposite in times of crisis.
That's right. During an oil spill, this becomes the arrival location for birds covered in oil. You can have hundreds of birds coming in very, very quickly, very rapid triage, almost like you'd see on a hospital nighttime drama.
My goodness. Okay, and then they move from here into this next room. This is the examination room, is that right?
Well, they'd get their original examination right in there, and when they're ready for wash. So that's where they would be until they're healthy enough for wash, and then we would rush them over.
We have all kinds of activity going on here with little birds. And then you would rush them in here. Oh, wow.
This really is the heart of International Bird Rescue. This is the washroom, probably one of the best washrooms for oiled birds in the state, maybe even in the country.
Why is that?
Well, because it is tailor-made. This was built with the blessing of the state of California. California has among the best laws for dealing with oil spills of anywhere in the country. We're very lucky to live where we do. This facility can do 6 birds at a time. These are wash stations.
And how long does it take?
It depends how oiled the bird is, but we want it to be as quick as possible. It could be as short as 10 minutes, as long as 45, maybe even an hour.
Both of those are long.
Exactly, yes. Once we go to the rinse process, we're rinsing the soap. These high pressure washing stations, and I swear it is magic. You watch this bird, you're soaking the bird until it gets dry. The water literally starts to bead up when their waterproofing is back where it needs to be, and we dry them off. It is magic.
Wow. That's what it's all about for you.
Absolutely.
A baby killdeer.
Good Samaritans drop off injured birds every day at the rescue center and into the hands of caregivers for recovery.
I hope you have a good life.
And the center is expanding its wings with a brand new aviary soon to be built on this plot of land back outside to help service the entire West Coast and much of Northern California.
What does this job mean to you personally, JD? Has this been a dream of yours? Or did it just happen that your career took you in this direction?
I had been working in nonprofits for most of my career, 20 years or so, and I loved birds. It was quite by accident that I found something that brought those two together. It was sort of a dream come true. I feel birds are bringing messages about the health of the world that we live in. Sick birds that are coming in without reason, we have to wonder where that's coming from. To me, being part of kind of that forefront environmental stewardship, making sure we're taking care of the cohabitants of this planet is a really important thing to me.
It is fascinating to watch these birds go from rescued and they're sick to getting well and released. And that to me is just something profound. And just as a citizen, I say thank you for what you do, because it is beautiful to watch these birds flying once again back into their freedom where they originally were supposed to be.
Absolutely. There's nothing quite like the release of a brown pelican after they finish their care. That moment where they step out of the cage and look back, am I really free? Oh. And then off they go. It can bring tears, I can tell you that.
Now let's discover another truly exotic species being saved right here at the Sacramento Zoo. African fruit bats are considered among the many threatened species worldwide. But at the Sacramento Zoo, these huge bats are thriving thanks to the efforts of keepers and the latest in animal science. Come along with me for a feeding frenzy inside the exhibit Small Wonders. This is a hint of what we are about to do behind the scenes of the Small Wonders exhibit here with Outreach Coordinator Laura Kirkendall. Hey, Laura.
Hi, good to see you again. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, glad to be here. You've been on the show several times now before.
You bet. We love it.
Inside, caution, exhibit entrance. This is exciting.
It is. That lets all the keepers know that that's not just any door. That's an animal door. And there are animals behind, but don't worry, we'll all be nice and safe. Would you like to go in?
I would love to go in.
All
Before
right.
we go in really quickly, bats and birds.
And birds are inside. Hornbill, crested cua, small birds, and some guinea fowl. They look like spotted chickens.
All right, let's go
Let's
look.
go.
How can you not want to see that?
I know, right? All right, the key to the zoo. And in you go. I'll let you go first.
Oh, we are inside the exhibit. Laura, look at this. Wow. And I just have to point out that Martin, our videographer, and myself went through a series of inoculations for rabies in case we were to get bitten. And that is just something that is procedure. We'll do anything to get you behind the scenes.
It's just standard policy. All of us keepers also are rabies vaccinated, even though
Okay.
our fruit bats really aren't at risk for having that. It's just a state policy, and we continue with that.
And we took part in that.
You bet you did.
Okay.
All right, so we're heading down. Behind is where the bats are.
There are the bats.
Did you see them? Now, it's hard to tell, but there's a group of them here in the corner.
Oh, my
there are
Lord.
20 of them. Look at them all in there. And that's exactly what they do in the wild. In the early morning, they'd all be huddled together for warmth, waiting to maybe go out and grab some fruit when the sun rises.
Oh my Lord. Okay, and we're good. Like
We're
they're
good.
not- okay.
No, they're not attack bats. They're not going to fly at you. They're just
Oh my
waiting for the
gosh.
food rings. Look at one moving. They know that you have the food, and they're pretty excited about that.
Oh my goodness. All right, so,
So
what,
when we hang the rings of the fruit from the roof, they're going to start to come over. And the best part is, I also have some mashed banana, which
Okay.
is their favorite. And they'll come over to you, and you can hand syringe feed them some banana.
Martin, do you see this? I just am in shock. May I reach out?
Unfortunately, they're not really great with being touched, but when you give them the banana-filled syringe, then they'll be able to come out for a bit of a closer look.
All right, let's do it. Come here, babies. Come here. This is banana. Martin, come get in here. You see this? You have got to be kidding me. This is an African bat. Get out of here. Oh, now they all want it. This is unbelievable. Hi, babies. I never thought I'd say this, but bats are adorable. Which is one of the things you get to learn at the zoo, Laura.
That's true. You know, these animals are both fascinating, interesting, and they have a really cool niche. They're very important animals. One of the things that people don't realize about bats is they are pollinators. They are really, really important by dropping and being very messy. They help pollinate huge swaths of forests. And in fact, the rainforest area where these animals are found in Africa, these animals, these bats, do over 80% of the pollinating in that area. Super important animals to have around.
Pollinating, see, I didn't know
And the
that.
bats that we have here in Sacramento are insect-eating bats. And we know what that means.
Yeah.
All those mosquitoes are getting gobbled up overnight, which we as people love.
Look at their cute little tongues. Hi, little baby.
And that allows them to gather up all the fruit that they find out in the wild, and their teeth help them rip open the thick peels.
Sorry.
They're just fighting amongst themselves.
Okay.
One had to tell the other neighbor that it wanted more of the banana.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Wow.
The neat thing about this exhibit is it's a multi-species exhibit, and it accurately represents the animals that you'd find living throughout Africa, primarily in the eastern side. So we have an aardvark living with our fennec foxes, and we have a variety of birds living with our bats, exactly how it would be in Africa.
Vernal pools are home to thousands of species, many still not yet identified, some that may even hold the key to future medical advances or other discoveries. These endangered vernal pools also provide a great outdoor classroom experience for kids.
Come with me to Mather Field in Rancho Cordova, where the nonprofit Sacramento Splash is taking students to science.
Welcome to the Mather Field Vernal Pools with Sacramento Splash. Isn't this gorgeous? And it's all run by Emily Butler. Good to see you, my friend.
Aw, thanks for coming out.
I'm thrilled to be here with you. And there's kids everywhere, hands-on in nature.
That's what we do here at Splash.
I love it. Tell me about Splash.
So Splash has been around for about 15, 16 years now. My mother started it really to get kids out into nature, exploring, and found out when you bring kids to wetlands, it's a wonderful opportunity for them not only to get their hands in the mud and explore, but also to learn science.
So this is a Pacific chorus frog, and this is what they sound like.
And you found vernal pools. That's not normal.
No, so vernal pools once covered pretty much all of the Central Valley, but because of development and agriculture and all the pressure that we've put on them, less than 5% of them are left. And they're really only found here in our region and pretty much nowhere else in the world.
Are you serious?
Isn't that crazy?
And that's a fact.
That's a fact.
What's in these vernal pools and what makes them?
Vernal pools are temporary wetlands. They fill with water during the winter and then they dry down during the spring and the summer. And during the winter, they host hundreds and hundreds of species of aquatic critters, many of which are only found in vernal pools, nowhere else on Earth.
Are they named and identified?
So that's what's kind of cool. It turns out that there's still a huge chunk of critters in vernal pools that we don't even know much about. They don't have names and they haven't been studied extensively. So it's one of the fun things that we tell kids when we come out here, that there's this idea that science is just kind of about learning facts, but science is about exploration, and they could become the scientists that name the rest of the critters out here.
Oh my gosh, and who knows what they could find inside of those critters that could lead to medical advancements.
You never know. There's all sorts of amazing medicines in Mother Nature.
Wow. It is about curriculum that begins in the classroom. They plan, they prep, they learn about what they're going to see, then they come here and see it.
Precisely, and I think that's the magic here.
This is where the students arrive before heading to the actual vernal pools, the Splash Vernal Pool Investigation Unit. Inside, students get up close to what they might see in the wild. Everything from small, unnamed species through microscopes to large snakes.
When you are in class studying about your animal, and then you get to come out here and meet your animal, which not all students get to do, but they do when they come to Splash. What does it mean to you to have this experience?
It feels cool and it's fun to actually hold something that you've seen but never held it before.
Will you remember this forever?
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah.
Teacher Christy Hyatt has been bringing her students here for 10 years. She says it brings her lessons to life.
You found a friend out here.
I did.
What is this?
This is a garter snake, a baby garter snake that was probably born this year. So very small. You feeling? There we go.
Oh, wow. Did your students see this?
Yes, they did. They all had a chance to hold it.
Really?
It crawled in their hands.
Now, you've been doing this with your students for 10 years.
Yes, yes.
How have you seen the lessons, the hands-on lessons, impact their lives?
There's an enthusiasm for science that I don't see. And then when we come out here, it's that culminating activity that just makes it all come together. And their enthusiasm is so exciting. And then to go out here and see their real critters is amazing.
When you see all the students walking by, that's just got to make you feel amazing.
Oh, it does. This is the best job in the world, honestly. There's just something about these kids getting the opportunity to get off the pavement, to escape the electric lights and the concrete, and get out here in the fresh air and sunshine in nature's outdoor classroom and play and learn, because that's how it was meant to be, I think.
These are students who are 10 years old. They're in inner city Sacramento. And I spoke to several today, and they said they'd never done anything like this before.
No.
Never done anything.
No, childhood has changed a lot over very few generations. You know, you talk to grandparents and they all remember catching salamanders in the creek and, you know, running barefoot to the fort out back. Those were fundamental parts of childhood, but things have changed a lot. Most California children, like 95%, live in cities. And these opportunities are vanishing. When you can connect the classroom experience with the real world experience, that is where deep learning happens.
What is Splash's voice?
What is Splash's voice? Splash is all about getting urban kids outside to explore nature and learn science and discover their role in protecting this beautiful natural world that they're going to inherit.
Some amazing efforts there that just might lead to even more remarkable discoveries in the future. Hey, check out all of our episodes at robontheroad.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for behind-the-scenes fun. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Stewart. We'll see you next week right here on Rob on the Road. Look at their cute little tongues. Ah, sorry.
And when the kids go back, what do they? Ah! Will you get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna hand this to you.
To order a DVD copy of this program, call 888-814-3923 or visit robontheroad.org.